Hi again everybody, it's Chris from Haunted Earth, and this time bringing you a monthly update from not within the house but outside in the garden and on the patio and during the twilight hour. Many of you have already noticed that the Haunted Earth website and the YouTube Haunted Earth presence has been completely revamped, and I think the current look is more up to date and more in keeping with what Haunted Earth really is, and not what some people might have thought it to be, because it became rather stodgy to look at. I don't think that the greens particularly fitted quite well with the strength and the direction that Haunted Earth are moving into, and so the greys, the blacks and the reds I think are very striking, and also of course the change of type font. So if you have any friends that aren't subscribers to my YouTube site, please by all means try and get them involved and subscribe. On the Facebook side, on my personal page, Chris Halton Haunted Earth, I've actually reached the maximum of 5,000 subscribers, and I can't take any more, unfortunately. I have quite a large waiting list of people that would like to come in, and gradually some people drop out, and as they drop out, those spaces can be quickly filled. Some other good things as well. I'm very soon to start my first radio broadcast. I'm only going to do this as a one-off initially, just to see how it goes. I have broadcasting experience. I used to work at the BBC, and I had a 1 hour slot every 2 weeks with a local radio station, but actually running one yourself is quite a different event. I've been on a number of internet shows too, and I thoroughly enjoyed them, and I would certainly like to continue with that. But for now, I'm going to try as a trial basis a 1 hour show. It will run from 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which will be 1:30 a.m. UK time, or 2:30 a.m. Central European time. And as I say, the show will last for about an hour, and I'm hoping for you guys to come on air and interact with me. The only thing is, at the moment, I'm having to familiarise myself with the controls to make sure that there are no hiccups and that the whole event can flow seamlessly. But what I'm hoping to cover on my initial broadcast is perhaps touching base on different aspects of the paranormal developments and news from across the world, and perhaps a little bit more about my own work. But I would certainly like to invite guests onto the show, and I certainly want to get you involved, you the viewer, to come online and have a chat with me and ask me questions about what I'm doing and where I'm going, and also any ideas that you might have to improve or develop the show. You've seen my most recent videos. The last one was The Evil Within, and I was joined by my friend Mary Freer from North Carolina. Hi Mary, if you're watching. Mary was absolutely fantastic. She was well up for this. We went to the ancient church, and no sooner had we set up, we settled down into 2 groups, and very quickly it became obvious to me that there was some kind of an energy building up, which Mary was able then to capture on camera. Now, Mary's very brave. We took a break because at some point I had to go out, because I was completely and utterly overwrought with the energy of these people that were wanting to use me as a faucet to open up their own feelings and emotions. And also, of course, the negative one that's there, a man who I believe is called Paul, who actually died from falling from the rafters in the church when it was used as a hay barn. And it was a very emotional experience for me. And one thing about that church, it's a very unsafe place to be at night on your own, and Mary volunteered to go in there on her own, and I had to stop her. I couldn't allow that, it would be too much. She's a very brave girl, to say the least, and it was great having her in my company. She only stayed 6 days, but we banged in as much filming as could be possibly done. And we have one more show to share, which is the investigation back at the haunted airfield yet again. So that should be great. So that will be on air in the next couple of weeks. I've still got 1 or 2 more updates to do on the website and the YouTube site, but that's certainly coming very, very shortly. The other video that I want to talk about was the haunted airfield, which is a favourite with many of you going back for a long time, and It was in the Nissen hut, as you recall, where when I was with Deanne, we experienced what appeared to be a light entity which was moving around and reacting to our presence. And I also compared that to earlier footage shot within the same building, the same actual room, which had been filmed, I believe, 5 or 6 years ago, and it was a similar entity. In fact, it was the same one. And I believe that this particular presence was friendly. It certainly didn't feel in any kind of way threatening or inhibitive towards us. It was certainly reacting playfully in our presence. And again, of course, just to cover one point, a skeptic said that it was a bug. Okay, accepting that it was a bug, for example. Why is it at one point that many of you have picked up is that the actual entity split, and you'll see the orb light moving in one direction and a vertical line of light moving sharply off to the left, and you can see it in this clip here. I'm going to walk forward and just film me as I'm walking to it and see if there's any reaction. That was interesting, wasn't it? And of course the EVP that was captured a little while later when we returned to the bunker itself, and I picked up on an energy near these old demountable buildings, and as I was describing what I was experiencing, should we say, I took a photograph, and then of course we heard the word gotcha. And even better than that, just by chance, Deanne had the camera aimed downwards towards the ground, and you saw this sausage-like anomaly move very quickly around the post, as you can see in this clip. That was quite fantastic. You know, that is what paranormal investigation is all about. It's being able to share an experience with you of something which is so profoundly wonderful, which is beyond description, which is beyond logic, because anyone employing any degree of logic to this subject as a non-religious event could not explain away these particular anomalies. And that's my attraction to the subject. That is why I investigate and share and have this enthusiasm which I want to show to you, because it's something which is absolutely wonderful and fantastic. The only sad event there, of course, is that come, I believe, September, the European Union has jackbooted itself across the countryside there, so it looks as though the bunker is going to be demolished with the surrounding buildings, and a giant waste incinerator is going to be erected on site. Now, I'm fairly sure that if this work goes ahead, that the people that will be working there will be experiencing a number of unpleasant things, because the actual site in which they're building this incinerator actually crosses two ley lines. It's also very close to the site of an early Roman dwelling. There's been human occupation on that site for thousands and thousands of years. And I'm fairly sure that any kind of modern development that takes place on that site is going to have repercussions. But we'll have to wait and see. But no doubt, if it does happen, it will all be explained away. There's always somebody there that can explain away everything. And the people that work there will have to continue to experience it. But I think it would be a terrible thing if they do. The bunker is only one of two of its kind left in the UK. Once that's gone, it's another piece of history that's been completely obliterated. And that would be, in my opinion, a very sad and very tragic act. Anyway, moving along from there. Another reason why I've decided to have this update is that I often get loads of messages from people that quite clearly I just haven't got a chance in hell of answering because of the pressures of work. I am but one person. I'm a one-man band. I do everything. I do the editing, I do the assembling of the video, you know, putting it together, also setting up the cameras and equipment, and then of course doing the narration, and then of course compiling the whole episode for you to see. It's a lot of work for one person to do, and I find it very, very difficult. So please forgive me if I don't answer every personal message or email that I receive, because I just haven't got the opportunity to do that. But one or two points have been raised very recently, and I've already actually covered those on previous videos. And one particular point is when a room grows cold with spiritual energy, does that mean that the energy is evil? And the answer to that is no, it doesn't mean that at all. Is that spiritual energy is a cold energy. It's in a physical way, it's obviously a dead energy. It works on a completely different basis to how we exist in our electrically charged bodies. It's a totally different form of energy, and it moves, I believe, by the process of thought. So when you actually feel cold, you're actually feeling the presence of a spiritual entity around you, and that is the reason why it can grow colder. But just to throw more mud into the water, to muddy it even more, is that I've been on one investigation where it actually grew warmer. The whole atmosphere and room actually went very, very warm. So it can go the other way. I don't think that's anything to do with the actual presence of itself and the raw essence of a spiritual presence. I believe that always to be a cold energy. I think that the raising of the temperature is just part of a manifestation which is taking place. Just touching on another point as well, people keep going on about shadow people as though they are something quite separate to normal paranormal events, and the answer to that is that they are not. They are very much just one manifestation of a whole range and raft of manifestations that spiritual energy can produce, but it doesn't actually denote these as some kind of, if you like, a different species of paranormal entity. I don't see that as being any different. In the same way, another question people raise again and again and again, the colour of orbs. Does that mean that each colour denotes how they feel, their temperament? Does black mean that they're evil? Does green mean that they're jealous? These colours have absolutely no bearing on that at all. The colours do not denote emotion. In the same way that all orbs aren't orb-shaped. Some are quite oblong and some actually take on quite a different form. But generically, they're all put together as one lump and they're called orbs. And spiritual energy is no different to how we are in our lives. There are people of different colours, there are people of different sizes and different heights, and in the spirit world it is no different. So please don't put any emphasis if you capture a black or grey orb. It does not mean that it's evil, it's just another colour, as simple as that. I haven't felt anything differently to that, so if I'm wrong, please correct me. Future developments of Haunted Earth. Well, we're still desperately trying to get our own show into production, and but those developments at the moment are moving ahead, albeit very slowly. I think the best thing for my work and my style of work is to get a greater exposure across the internet, and I'm more than happy for anybody, if you like any one of my videos, by all means copy the link code from YouTube and paste it into your website. You have my full permission. Obviously, what I will not condone and give permission to is for people to chop bits of video from my videos to include in their own, that unless they give full accreditation as to where they found the video, and of course to seek my permission first. I've had, and this is the downside to what I actually do, I've actually had one or two people that have literally copied an entire video, chopped out the Haunted Earth headings and endings and copyrights and posted them as their own videos on YouTube. I will not tolerate that at any length at all, because it's wrong and it's criminal. It's like someone coming into your house and taking photographs from your collection and using them as their own. It's not something which is acceptable behaviour. So as long as I've got that point very straight there, I do take the protection of my work very seriously, but on the other hand, I'm more than welcome for you to use those videos in your own productions and websites, providing that I get full accreditation. And if it's just a link into your web page, no problems at all. But for anything more than that, then please contact me first. I very rarely do I say no, but I just like to know where my work is going and why it's being used in the manner that it's being used. So really, I think that's about it for now. I've touched base with as much as I can possibly think of. It's certainly getting a bit noisy here, and I'm going to wrap this and hopefully wait for your questions to come back on this particular episode of an update from Haunted Earth. Hope you've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed talking to you, and I look forward to seeing you very soon on a very new investigation. And you take care.